So this is going to be hopefully a quick demo on how to use the latest version of the warband and character creation sheets. So to start with, key information to know is that a lot of the information on here will be populated once you've made a selection, and once you enter some bits of data, the rest will appear for you and will calculate for you. So there's actually only a few cells worth of information that you need to change, and most of that is from a list. So when you're doing it, if you already know what kind of character you want to make and what abilities you want to use, it's really quick. And if you haven't made a character before and aren't sure what to do, then the useful thing is that a lot of these keywords are hyperlinked to the relevant area on the Warband's rulebook, so you can easily follow along and make choices as you go, read the content on there. So to start with, what I always like to do is name the warband, just to give it a bit more character. This one I'm going to name the Vampire Court because I've been watching a lot of Castlevania and that show has been very cool and I've liked it a lot. And following along with that theme, the first character I'm going to make is Dracula. So these character sheets are also hyperlinked to go straight to them, but you can select them from the bottom here as well. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to start off by adding in the name, just because I feel like that's a great way to add character to your character before you've really started. And then aside from that, I'm just going to follow the instructions on the right hand side here. Again, these are all hyperlinked to the cell that you can edit to make it nice and easy. And all of these are still hyperlinked to the relevant Notion rulebook area. So he's Dracula. Race is obviously going to be a vampire. So from all this drop down list, I'm going to choose vampire. And you can see that's already started to populate some information. The first thing being the racial ability, which we can check out here, is predatory instinct down here on vampire. So he gains the ambush passive ability. So that lets him, when he's starting up the game, be placed on the board in secret. So your opponent won't know where he is until you move him. So he's kind of like a stealth character. And then for the class, you'll also see that once I've chosen a race, your starting statistics will update with your race bonuses. So vampires gain an extra point in speed, weapon and magic expertise, and intelligence. So I'm now going to choose a base class. So that's out of these 8. I'm going to make him a warrior to start with, and you can see that's already populating some more information. So one of the things is the health point maximum, so how much health the character has. See, if I change the class, my health adjusts accordingly. Let's see someone with lower health, mage. So warriors actually have the most health to start with, 20. And then I'm going to choose an ability. So now that I've chosen to be a warrior, I can only choose from the warrior abilities. And again, if I choose a different one, I can only choose from those class abilities. So I'll stick with the warrior for now. And I'm going to choose Visceral Slice, so that populates all the information about that ability. So how much damage it does, what the modifier is for damage, what effect it gives, in this case it makes characters bleed, how high you need to roll on a d20 to actually successfully do this ability, and what modifier you can use to make that easier. So Adept is 12, and I gain Weapon Expertise as an extra modifier for that roll. So now that I've given myself an ability, I'm going to assign my stats. So at level 1 I have an extra 16 stats to assign on top of the ones you start with and then your racial bonuses. So I'm going to make my guy quite fast. He is a vampire after all. And I'm also going to increase his weapon expertise and his magic expertise. And I'm going to leave the others as they are. I've still got 5 more. So let's increase his fortitude and his defense as well. So he's quite strong, quite fast, and quite adept at using these different types of weapons and abilities. So you can see that the action check roll for my Visceral Slice has actually gone down from 12 to 11 because I have 1 weapon expertise. So this is what I mean by automatically calculating things. So the last thing to do to make this character is to assign him some equipment. So I can only give him equipment from my inventory on my warband sheet of items that I've already bought or already own. And to do that, you start with 50 gold, and every time you buy an item, it subtracts the amount of gold it costs from your total. You can also add in more gold if you're playing a game and you get some gold. So for now, I'm going to give Dracula a longsword. I'm going to give it to Dracula, and I'm also going to give him some hide armor. I'm going to give that to Dracula. So when I come back to Dracula's sheet now, on this equipment drop down, I can choose his weapon, and I can choose his armor, and again that will populate the details here. So you can see with his longsword, in a similar situation to his ability, you can see that it's an adept weapon expertise, and that's automatically calculated that I need an 11 because of my weapon expertise, and the damage roll is 1d6 plus 0 because it's strength or agility, and I have 0 in both. If I increase my strength for a plus 2, it'll adjust there, and it'll always take the higher of the two if there are two, so if I make my agility even higher, it'll take that instead. And that's it, that's a complete character. So you would just need to do that at least 4 more times to have 5 characters, which is the minimum, and you have an extra 2 character slots to make your total warband of 7.